Yeah, it was good. Like you'd expect, everybody out there, good energy, a little bit nerves, I think, for everybody, coaches included. It's the first day. It's putting everything that you've been working on back out there on display, meetings, and I thought overall I enjoyed it. I think the guys enjoyed it. I think we had a good day. We worked hard. The first group, so the veteran group, those guys, really good through individual, team periods. And then the young guys, like we talked about, slowed it down and got a chance to see some for the first time out there and get to work with them. It was good. Those guys had great energy. They're trying to prove something. That's the thing you love about the rookies. You always love that rookie mentality. I wish everybody had it all the time. I think that's a way that when our older guys come out there and they see that, it's a great reminder of just when you have that rookie mentality, you're trying to prove something. You fly around, you practice hard, you get better, and we saw some really good things from the young guys. Key is moving forward, we get better. All right, what did we learn today? We're going to have meetings tonight. We're going to watch it. We're going to see what we did well, what we didn't do well, what do we have to get better at. Coaches getting organized, being very efficient with what we're trying to do tomorrow with the time, what we can get done because of the split practices, and we go from there.
One of the guys I talked to today was Horton. What's kind of impressed you about him? And obviously he's all of a sudden now the kind of old guy in that group.
Yeah, it goes quick. I think he probably realizes that too. Horton's consistency, I think that's the biggest thing. From weight room, classroom, meeting room, practice field, he's just a consistent guy. He shows up, he's got a great attitude, he works hard, he's trying to get better, he's got confidence. The more he's played now, he's got more confidence. So when he goes out there and if it's not perfect, he's going to come back, he's going to play the next play. All the things you talk about, you start to see in guys, they actually do it. So I think he's a great example for that.
Tomorrow we're going to talk to Wolpen, I think. Talking to Lee yesterday, he said, hey, right now, he's actually the one at top of the depth chart, not Alex. I mean, what has he done? I know things obviously will probably change, but what has he done to put himself in this position to go from walk-on to scholarship to now probably be a guy that's going to be a key back for you?
Sure. Yeah, those guys are all battling. Well, two things. I mean, he's committed and he does the work. Those two things have always been qualities that Ryan's had. He showed up. He had something to prove. You always wonder, how is that going to continue? You give him a scholarship because he deserves it. Hasn't changed. That's just who he is. He's a guy that will commit to going out there and whatever you ask him to do, he's going to do it. He's going to put in the time, put in the work, and that hasn't changed. So to me, he's still improving. He's getting better. He's a senior. We all understand that. You think by that time, there's still a lot of improvement to be made for all of our seniors, him included. I thought his first day out there, what you'd expect: consistency, hard work, giving the effort. Showing guys how it's supposed to be done when it comes to habits and practice. So that's got to carry over. We'll put the pads on. We'll get out of the helmets eventually. We'll get the pads back on. We'll let them go out there and run a little bit. We'll have a couple of live scrimmages. That will tell us kind of where we are and how we look going into the season.
Ryan Clady retired today. I know he's a guy that you got to work with.
Obviously
a lot here. What impressed you most about him and what he was able to accomplish?
Wow. Yeah, that's boy. Ryan was. I guess you have to know his story a little bit and how he got here. He kind of played D-line in high school, comes in here, he's long, he's skinny, and works himself into a first-round pick. He was, as he grew and developed, you start to see a guy that massively changed just physically while he was here, and that was just his maturity and his hard work. But obviously out at practice, highly competitive and very athletic with it. When you have those two combinations and you're a coach and you see a guy and you watch one-on-ones, this is what I remember. I'd go over to one-on-ones, let the quarterbacks, they're doing something. I go over to one-on-ones and just watch, see how our guys were competing and all that. And Ryan's out there and obviously physically gifted, but ultimately competitive in the end. And that was fun. And then he had a good attitude about him too. I think Ryan kind of took everything in stride. It didn't really get up and down. Coaches might be going crazy and all that. And he just keeps playing. Kind of that next play mentality like we were talking about. Awesome guy to be around and awesome to coach, and obviously did really big things for us here and has done things in the league. Good for him. You know what? Hey, he's had a successful career. We're proud of him. He shouldn't hang his head on anything he's done because he's put in a lot of work. And from the time he was here, weight room, everything, that guy was first class and did the things he was asked to do.
You guys, go ahead. Are you pleased with the newcomers of this last practice that you just saw?
Some. And I don't mean that necessarily that they're not out there. We're just not, our practice habits, the focus. It's all those things, you know. So they're out there, they're working, you know, they're trying to do what the coaches ask them to do. But there's certain things that when players come in, they got to understand that this is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to practice. And if we don't, we're not going to be successful. So from a habit standpoint, just purely practice and what we expect, no. Were there some guys that stood out? Absolutely. You know, there's some talent out there. Those guys, some guys can play, some guys made plays. Some guys are learning how to do that. When the older guys kind of showed up there towards the end, you know, that elevates it a little bit. People are watching, so there's a little bit more energy out there. But overall, I think our coaches will say they're pleased with it, and we're just going to have to go back and really hammer the practice, make sure that we're hitting the main points, not so much the plays, just how we're going to do things and get that established.
Was this the first time you've seen them? I mean
yeah. Yeah, it is. You obviously you watch them on film.
yeah,
I've
I
got a
mean
chance
live.
oh yeah, absolutely. You know, I've seen some of these guys play. I've seen some of them practice, but not all of them. Our coaches have seen them, and so it is. It's the first time. And the neat thing, it's the football part of it. You know, if it's route running, coverage, whatever it is, you can see that, you know, on film, and your coaches can tell you in practice. They might, you know, take a picture of it or a video of it and all that. It's really getting there and interacting with them and watching how they respond. You know, when something goes bad, you get a little bit of an idea what their mentality is. What was that everyday practice like for them in high school? You know, when something bad happened, did they just kind of go over there and grab a water? Or something bad happened, did they spring up and go say, let's do it again, let's compete? That's what you find out. Those are the things that we're trying to create in practice right now, is just that mentality of this is how we're going to do it. And the things that we don't want to have happen, remind those guys that never like that, never again. And just make sure that they understand that. And let's move forward. All right, you're going to make mistakes, do it quickly, move on, and understand how we want to practice and what we expect from you.
As a group, were you pleased? I mean, with
Same,
what you got,
same question. You know, it's really, yeah, they did a good job. Coaches worked with them. We slowed it down. There were some good things out there, but it's not. We're not there yet. You know, as far as we're going to walk out of there. And I think that's one thing too with young guys. You get a chance to see them for the first time. You don't know necessarily all those things, and you get excited about them. But you know, what's tomorrow going to look like? Day one, it's the first time they put the Bronco helmet on, and they've been out there with the coaches, and they're working. So there are some good things. What's tomorrow going to look like? And then when we get to practice 15 and 16, you know, that'll probably tell you a whole lot more about that group.
I know you guys moved Mo, you know, because he was suited a little better there, but you also wanted to get, you know, Louis more playing time, I guess.
Yeah.
Out there. I know you talked about it in the spring, but how did you find him, and what does it say about him that, you know, a guy like David Moe, who was first team All Mountain West, you're kind of sliding him over in part to get a guy like Louis in there?
Well, David was, the plan was never to play him there necessarily. You know, we had to do that. And I guess to flip that question around, you know, what does that mean from David Moa to go from a position he's naturally better at and probably fitted for to go play a nose where he's a little bit undersized, and, you know, just his tenacity and mentality, you know, makes him a good football player at that position.